I got my love of cooking and baking from my mom and Aunt Alice. My mom came to live with Aunt Alice and Uncle Orville after she finished 8th grade. Mom was one of 14 children. Alice was Mom's oldest sister and more like a grandma to me and my brothers. The Hale women were great cooks. It's the Hale legacy. Nothing highbrow or gourmet, but solid country cooks. Alice and Mom were well known for their baking, especially cakes and pies. As a child, my birthday cake from Aunt Alice was always a homemade angel food. By homemade, I mean cake flour sifted. Shitloads of egg whites beaten to a frothy peaks. Not that Buddy Crocker box mix from the grocery store shelf. As I grew older, my palate shifted and I became more of a pie man. Whatever pie was on the counter was my favorite, but if I were choosing, it was, and still is, butterscotch meringue. As an adult, for my birthday and occasions when I was sick, Mom would make me a butterscotch pie. The aroma of sugar burning in her cast iron skillet as it caramelized to a dark golden amber while boiling water is poured onto the molten mixture, exploding like an olfactory orgasm, wafting many rooms away. Every pie had Mom's favorite, never-fail pie crust, made so many times her hands could do the motion without a thought. When I started my pastry baking avocation, it was my sophomore year in high school when I made my first blackberry cobbler without Mom around on my own. Later, when Mom got home and sampled my wares, she said, "That tastes just like the cobbler your Grandma Hale used to make. I've not had cobbler that good since the last time I had hers." Inside, I beamed. There was not a greater compliment to receive than to be compared to Grandma Hale, Aunt Alice, or my mom. I had arrived. I was becoming a bona fide Hale cook and baker. When I was out on my own, often as I began to make something for supper, I'd call Mom or Aunt Alice and ask, "How do you make homemade noodles?" "Well, you beat the egg yolks, add it to the flour, put in some baking powder and salt." "Wait, Mom, slow down. How many egg yolks?" "Well, however many were left from what I used the egg whites for." "How much flour?" "I don't know, I don't measure. I just add enough until it feels and looks the right consistency." I'd be exasperated. Sure, they used recipes for many things, but they'd cooked for so long that it was second nature to them. Whether cooking for 5 or 50, they knew just how many ingredients of what was needed and how much was used. Cooking by rote, they could do it in their sleep. Cooking and baking for them were well-oiled machines. When Mom and Dad would come to visit, it was a great joy for me to be able to cook and bake breakfast, lunch, and dinner for them, allowing Mom to sit back and rest in recompense for the many meals she'd made for me over the years. When I did a gut rehab of my kitchen in 2000, I built a chef's kitchen. Custom cherry cabinets, the commercial appliances, a Sub-Zero fridge, the 36-inch Wolf range with a grill in the middle, the deep basin farmer's sink. I had the kitchen my mom and Aunt Alice always should have had. In the hallway adjacent to my kitchen, I added a built-in bookcase to display my cookbooks and cooking magazine collections. In 2010, when the neighbor below me started what would be a 5-alarm fire, not just my kitchen, but my whole apartment and contents were destroyed. The heat so intense, it melted the stainless steel door of my Sub-Zero fridge off its hinges. My cookbooks and bookcase were ash and rubble, as were my recipe boxes, full of nearly 30 years' worth of recipes. Alice had died a few years earlier. Her recipes were long gone, but I could start replenishing from Mom's recipe boxes and cookbooks. When I went home at Thanksgiving, Mom was forgetting more. It's not that she was forgetting, but it was the manner in which she was forgetting things. When I went back between Christmas and New Year's, I planned to cull through Mom's recipe boxes and fill out recipe cards until my pens ran dry and my fingers cramped. I get to Mom and Dad's. I go to the kitchen where the cookbooks are kept. That's odd. The cabinet's empty. Mom, I want to start going through your recipe boxes and cookbooks. They're not in the cabinet. Where are they? Oh, I decided I didn't need them anymore and I threw them away. I went ashen. This isn't happening. Mom's recipes. That's all that's left of any semblance of retrieving any part of my former life. I take myself down to the basement and just start to cry. Yes, I'm devastated about the recipes. But Mom, what the fuck is going on? How does Dad not fucking see this? Every aspect of my life, my world, is falling apart at the seams. Weeks later, cleaning, sorting, and pitching at Mom and Dad's house, in Mom's office, in books, in kitchen drawers, in random places throughout the house, I kept finding copies of her never-fail pie crust recipe. Mom had made this hundreds, maybe thousands of times in her life. At what point did she realize her mind was going? How long did she live in her private hell that she was afraid to state out loud to Dad, to herself, to anyone? How frightened she must have been to repeatedly write down a recipe that was second nature to her. It became increasingly painful with each new copy of the recipe I found. Aunt Alice had Alzheimer's. Grandpa Hale had it before it was called Alzheimer's in the early 70s. Mom is the fourth sibling thus far to have it. I'm an unwitting and unwilling participant in a game of genetics roulette that I don't want any part of playing. But the decision isn't mine. It wasn't Mom's nor Aunt Alice's. I've moved back home, downstate, to help care for Mom, to keep her home for as long as possible. Once again, I'm cooking for Mom and Dad under very different circumstances, although the joy has subsided. Dad and I rearranged the kitchen cabinets and drawers, hiding the knives to be out of Mom's reach for her own safety. Mom sits at the dining room table watching on as I prepare fried chicken, mashed potatoes with milk gravy, finished off with a side of her famous cream corn, as she'd taught me so many years ago. I glance over at Mom. There's a vacant look in her eyes that's hard to describe, though I can hauntingly see it as if it were 10 seconds ago. It's a look of sad resignation. I'm in her kitchen, her territory, standing over her stove, where she wants to be, where she used to be, where she no longer can be. The rare occasion I entertain or cook for others anymore, I'll get asked, "Can I have your recipe?" I add some flour, salt and pepper, stir some milk in the pan. I really don't measure ingredients. I go by feel, consistency, and taste. I've become my mother's son. Thank you.